What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, this is going to be a personal and negative episode of Joe Winko Talk. Nothing really too gloomy at all. Well, it is kind of gloomy, depending on what way you look at it and the way things were and everything, but it's going to be very personal and quite a bit negative. Also, some adult themed X rated stuff will be discussed in this episode, so please don't watch this if you're under 18. Just want to let everyone know, really, because some X rated adult stuff will be discussed in this episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, as I said, this is going to be quite a negative topic from my personal life, and this is actually from a little while ago, but this recently popped back into my head because I was watching a rerun of the Steve Wilkos show on YouTube about this woman who was in an abusive relationship, and it made me think of this. As you guys all know, I've been looking for a lover or a partner for a very, very, very long time. And I'm even on more than 50 dating sites. I even have a whole video compilation of all my profiles on all of them, and I'll even have the link to that in the pinned comments. But I never have been able to find a lover or partner or boyfriend, whatever you want to call it, at all. And there actually are some reasons why I haven't been able to. Mainly because all gay men want nowadays is just sex. They don't want relationships, they just want to hook up, and they just want to get sexual right away. I honestly can't get sexual with just anyone right away. I have to get to know them first and establish a connection first. Not all gay guys just want sex and just want sex right away, but an overwhelming majority of them just want sex right away or just want to hook up, and that's basically just it. And there are other reasons why I haven't found a lover or partner yet. A lot of them are really stuck up and they're judgmental because I don't have a car and because I don't have my own place at all. Also because I don't suck cock at all and because I can't take it up the ass either. I mean, that is another one. At first, I was actually going to talk about this specific story in Volume 2 of my Failures of My Love Life episode of Joe Winko Talk. I have the link to Volume 1 in the pinned comments as well if you guys are interested in seeing that. But I figured that this specific story was worthy of its own episode of Joe Winko Talk. So let me begin. One of the many dating sites that I've been trying to find a lover or partner on is Fetlife.com. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Fetlife, Fetlife is basically this dating site for people who are into the BDSM scene, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, masters and slaves and dominants and submissives, like dominant partners to match up with submissive partners. And I honestly consider myself a dominant male. That's what I always considered myself. And how I honestly found out about this site was I was posting on a lot of gay web forums and a lot of gay message boards. I was saying that I was looking for a boyfriend, but I said that I can't take it up the ass and I don't suck cock at all and that I'm a total top and everything. And that's when everyone started telling me, oh, you need to find a submissive boyfriend. You should go on FetLife and try to find a boyfriend on FetLife. And that's how I was introduced to FetLife.com. And I've been on that site since 2015, but I really didn't start using it until mid 2016. I've been posting on that site for quite a while and been trying to find a lover or partner on Fetlife for a really long time. And like all the other dating sites I'm on, I haven't been able to find a lover or partner there either. I've encountered quite a few friendly and nice people on that site, like friendly and nice people who I talk to, and friendly and nice people who check out my YouTube videos and ask me how I'm doing, who I'm just friends with, really. But the truth is, the majority of guys on FetLife are full of shit, and the majority of them are all talk and not serious about anything at all. They just go on there to discuss their fantasies. Like, I'll get a message from a guy who says that I'm hot and who says that I'm sexy and that he wants to meet me and he wants to be my lover and partner. And then a couple days pass, he sends me messages, we message each other back and forth, just small talk that never ends up going anywhere. And then eventually I don't hear from him again. And that's exactly how it is. And that's how it's been going lately for the past 4 or 3 years I've been on that site. And in addition to that, a lot of them are really rude and really stupid and really disrespectful. For an example, there was the idiot from Texas who I talked about in an episode of Joe Winko Talk back in March of 2018. And there was also the guy from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who catfished me way back in 2017 during a rough time in my life. But when it comes to stupid guys on FetLife, the guy that I will be talking about in this video honestly really takes the cake for it. Seriously. This was back in April of 2018 at first. Not April 2019, April of 2018. So this was a few months after I just moved down to Florida. And my goal, like I was planning this even before I moved to Florida when I found out my adoptive parents were going to drop me off down in Florida to live with their relatives. My goal was when I got to Florida, I wasn't going to have any hookups, and I just wanted to find one man and one partner to be with and to focus on and to be with. But if you guys been following me long enough, you would know this. That obviously has yet to work out, but it is what it is. But back in April of 2018, I was contacted by this man on FetLife. He messaged me on FetLife, and he was basically this handsome 50-year-old blonde supermodel who lived up in the panhandle of Florida. Not the same guy from my Connecticut Heartbreak episode of Joe Winko Talk. This guy was a different guy, and he was in his late 40s, early 50s. I don't really remember exactly how old he was, but I think it was like his late 40s. He was older, but not that old. I'm just gonna say that his name was Charlie. That's not his real name, but that's his name I'm going to use for this video. He saw my postings on FetLife about how I was looking for a lover and partner, and he said he was interested in me because I was looking for a lover or partner who likes to drive and go on road trips and who likes adventure, because that's a major thing I'm looking for, a man who likes to drive and go on road trips, because I love road trips. And also, he claimed to be a submissive guy who was looking for a long-term relationship with a dominant younger guy, and that's me, definitely. So as I was saying, Charlie lived up in the panhandle of Florida in Tallahassee, which is the capital city of Florida. Now, at that time, I never really thought much of Tallahassee, Florida, but nowadays, I think Tallahassee, Florida would be a very awesome place to road trip to and to go visit and to go do a YouTube video at, because I recently got more interested in Tallahassee because I've been reading about it online. And another free tip, the reason why Tallahassee became the capital of Florida is because way back in the old days, before air conditioning was invented, Jacksonville and Pensacola used to be the most busiest cities in Florida, And people would always go back and forth from Jacksonville to Pensacola up in the Panhandle, and Tallahassee was right in the middle of both of those cities, so that's why it became the capital city of Florida. I read that on city data, so take that with a grain of salt. My adoptive dad and I actually been through Tallahassee, Florida, when we were on a road trip to Mobile, Alabama on Interstate 10. And we even stopped off at a Publix and we went to get some snacks and everything. And I didn't see much of it. I only saw part of Tallahassee, and we didn't go to downtown Tallahassee. It was just that one exit where we stopped and got snacks at. But I thought it looked really beautiful, and I thought it seemed like a really interesting place. I noticed that it was really hilly, and you could tell that it was still Florida and that you were still in Florida, but it had a completely different atmosphere from the peninsula of Florida down where I live. It was different from where I was living in Florida, and it had a different mood and atmosphere. I have been wanting to go back there because I didn't spend much time there, and I even added it to the new map of all the places I've been wanting to road trip to. But in 2018, that wasn't a place that I really thought much of, and it wasn't a place that I had on my map of places I wanted to road trip to either. But I still wanted to go to Tallahassee at that time. The only reason why was to visit Charlie, because we talked on the phone with each other, and we also talked on video on Skype, and we seemed to get along really good, and we even talked about having him send me a bus ticket so I could go visit him up in Tallahassee. But the thing is, we just never did that at all. He seemed like a really sweet person, and he seemed like the shy type, and I also noticed that he was a tad bit effeminate or feminine when I heard him talk and everything. Just a tad bit, not too much. But I didn't mind at all because I thought he was really cute and I thought he was really handsome. And the fact that he was effeminate actually made him seem even cuter, in my opinion. So I didn't mind that at all. But eventually, for some reason, me and him lost contact with each other. It wasn't like anything bad happened between us. Nothing bad happened between us. But just over time, like soon after, we just lost contact and I stopped hearing from him. He was still following me on Instagram because I remember I told him to follow me on Instagram. And he was following my fan page on Facebook too, because I remember I told him to like it because I told him about all my YouTube videos that I post all the time, and he thought that they were really cool. So, fast forward to summer of 2019, and this was in early August of 2019. Not 2018, but August of 2019. And I noticed that he liked one of my pictures on Instagram because I got the notification, and then I recognized him right away, and that's when I remembered him, and I was like, oh, that's Charlie. I should see how he's doing. So I got back in touch with him, and I had his number because he sent it to me on Fetlife. I dug through my messages and found his number, so I texted him again, and I told him thank you for liking my pictures. And I was asking him, how are you doing? Are you still single? Do you still want to get together? Sorry we lost touch earlier. And he told me that he had a boyfriend now and that they've been together for a few months and that he was doing great. And then I was just like, oh, okay then. And then I backed off then because I thought he wasn't available. He already has a boyfriend and everything. So soon after that, a couple days passed and I heard back from him again. He was texting me and he asked me if he could call me, and he said that he was sad about stuff and he needed to talk to someone. And then I said, okay, sure, we can talk. So then he called me and he told me that he was having problems with his boyfriend, And let's just say that his boyfriend is named Garrett. Again, not his real name because I don't remember what his boyfriend's name was, but either way, I don't want to use his real name or say his name in my video, even if I did remember what it was. But that's the name I'm using, Garrett. He basically told me that things with his new boyfriend were going good at first. He said that Garrett was a stud and that he was in his early 20s, like me. And he said that Garrett was also tall, like me. I'm 6'3", in case you guys are wondering. And he also said that Garrett is very strong and buff and muscular and athletic. Not quite like me, but I guess I'm kind of close. I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge on that. He also went on and on explaining that Garrett is also dominant, which is what Charlie is into and what he's looking for, a dominant younger guy for a long-term relationship. And he also just had to tell me that when they had sex with each other, whenever they'd have sex with each other, that it was always wonderful and it was amazing and that he always would love it so much. And I just remember him going on and on about how great Garrett was, and then I was just like, okay, so what are you so sad about? Why did you need to call me then? I mean, why you need to tell me all this? That's what I said to him. And I was just like, what's the problem then? Well, then Charlie told me that a month after they got together, Garrett started to get mean and aggressive, and not aggressive in the good way either. He said that Garrett gets drunk a lot and gets angry and has mental breakdowns pretty often. Just in case you're all wondering, I never drink at all. I'm actually straight edge totally. Mainly because of reasons like that. I notice that when people drink, they tend to act really stupid and they tend to do really bad things sometimes. And I don't want to be like that at all, and I don't want to drink anything that makes me act like that. I'm not sure why people always want to drink alcohol if it makes them act stupid, but the things I've seen from people who drink alcohol a lot, I've seen mostly the negative effects, so that's why I always keep my distance from it, and that's why I never drink at all, because I don't want to drink alcohol, and I don't need to put myself through that or do anything like that, because I think it's stupid. But it gets worse. Charlie also told me that Garrett has gotten violent with him, and by violent, I mean specifically with one incident that he told me that Garrett got a vodka bottle and ended up striking Charlie in the head with it. And then another separate incident where he told me that Garrett threw a glass at his head and that Charlie had to go to the emergency room, and that he told the paramedics that the whole injury he got from Garrett throwing a glass at his head was just an accident because he didn't want Garrett to get arrested, and that Garrett was very abusive and would pick fights with him and would hurt him and assault him. And that those weren't even the only times he done it either. And Charlie also told me that he didn't have the guts to tell anyone because he loved Garrett and he didn't want Garrett to go to jail at all. And he said that I was the only person, like one of the only people, that he had the guts to tell this to. But it doesn't end there. After all this messed up stuff was going on between Garrett and Charlie, guess what Charlie decided to do? Charlie decided to take Garrett on a road trip from Florida to Maine, another place that I've been seriously wanting to visit, to help rekindle their relationship and help get them closer together and help mend things, quote unquote. And in addition to that, needless to say, according to Charlie, the road trip started out nice at first, but as soon as they arrived in Maine, and as soon as Garrett started drinking again, he got in another fight with Charlie, punching him in the face and giving him a black eye, even threatening to kill Charlie. And Garrett also ditched Charlie and got on a bus to go to Portland, Maine to hook up with a girl that he matched with on Tinder. I'm not even kidding. This is exactly what Charlie told me. I didn't say this out loud, but I just remember thinking, wow. And then Charlie asked me, what should I do about this? I'm lost and confused. He seriously just asked me that and seriously said that he was lost and confused and didn't know what to do about this. So what the fuck do you guys think I told him to do? I told him, dude, you do not belong with this guy. This guy is going to kill you if you stay with him. He's obviously very unstable. He's already seriously injured you, not once, but multiple times. You need to protect yourself and get out of that situation, or else you're going to end up dead. And that's what I told him on the phone. And then he tells me, but I love Garrett and I don't want to leave him, and he always says sorry after hurting me. And then I told him, dude, that is textbook abuse. This guy is harming you to the point where he can kill you, and he's already threatened your life. And then he tells me that he doesn't want to be alone at all because it hurts being alone. And that's why he doesn't want to leave Garrett at all. And I told him, what makes you think you're going to be alone? And I also mentioned, I'm still single. I don't have a lover and partner at all. I've been looking for one this whole entire time, even before we started talking. And guess what? I never found one at all. And I told him, just come to Florida. All you need to do is get on I-95 southbound all the way to Jacksonville, then get on Interstate 295 around Jacksonville until you get to Interstate 10 west. Take Interstate 10 west until you get to the exit near Baldwin, Florida. Then continue on U.S. Federal Route 301 south until you get to Northern Ocala. Then take I-75 south until you can merge onto Interstate 275 south, which takes you right into Pinellas County, where I'll be here waiting for you. And I even told him, I'll stay with you as long as you want. And I was serious. I honestly meant that. And then he cries to me, and he seriously says this. He cries to me and tells me, well, what about Garrett? And then I said, Garrett is a grown-ass man. He already found his way off to Portland to meet some female that he met on Tinder. He can find his own way back to Florida, and I don't think you should worry about him because he's clearly not worried about you. And then he went quiet, and I just told him, you know that's what you should do. And he was quiet, and then he finally agreed with me, and he said, yeah, I guess you're right, and that he was glad that he talked to me about this because he didn't know how bad all of this was and how bad it all actually was. That's why he wanted to talk to someone about it, and that's why he talked to me about it. And I told him, well, I'm glad you realize how serious this is, because you can't be with someone who puts you through stuff like that. That's not right at all. This person is not fit. You gotta find someone else. Seriously. I mean, all guys have their problems. All guys have their problems. Everyone has their problems. But this person's problems are too extreme, and they're going to get you killed. And it's absolutely true, too. Because stuff like that does happen to people. So I was really sad for what he was going through, and I seriously meant it when I said that I'd be there to, be by his side and help support him and everything. And I asked him, when are you going to come down to Florida? Are you going to leave tonight? Because I'll be here waiting for you. And he said that he was too tired and too sad to drive that night. But he said that he would leave tomorrow morning and come down to meet me. And I remember feeling like I probably should have pushed him to leave that night. But I was thinking, well, if he's really that tired and if he's really like in a sad mood, then I shouldn't push him. It wouldn't be a good idea. And I just said, okay, you can leave first thing tomorrow morning, because to make that drive from Maine down to Pinellas County, Florida, I looked it up online and I typed it in on Google Maps and Google Search. If he drove straight through, if he left tomorrow morning, the morning after, and drove straight down, I mean, I guess you can include a couple hours for stops and everything, he would arrive there in 25 to 30 hours, roughly. That's an estimate. Which would be the day after tomorrow. And I even told him, I have nothing going on. I just have a few videos that I need to edit and post on YouTube. But those can definitely wait. And I'll spend as much time with you as you want. Seriously. Because I really didn't have anything going on, and I really didn't even have anyone to hang out with, and still don't have anyone to hang out with to this day. Because I spend a lot of time by myself, like way too much time by myself, honestly. But I am trying to fix that, as I was during this, as you guys all are hearing. And then he says, okay, I'll think about it. And then I was like, think about it? What do you mean you think about it? And then he said, I don't know what I'll do without Garrett. And I told him to forget Garrett, that Garrett's a fucking monster who tried to kill him multiple times, which is exactly what happened. And I told him that he didn't need Garrett at all because he would have me instead. Someone much nicer, someone much sweeter, someone much more respectful, and someone much more appreciative of what he does. I mean, seriously, if he would have took me on a road trip from Florida up to Maine, where I actually been wanting to go for a long time, if he would have brought me up from Florida up to Maine, I would have never walked off and ditched him for someone I met on Tinder. I wouldn't even be using Tinder if he brought me up to Maine. I would be by his side and with him the whole entire time in Maine. I don't stray away from people who take me on a long road trip. I think that's stupid, really. And I think that's disrespectful, too. Because me and him would be together on that road trip because he's the one who brought me up there. And I'd be really thankful for him taking me on a road trip. And it honestly angers me that the only reason why he took this guy on a road trip up to Maine is because he wanted to rekindle their relationship and bring them closer together after this man has been abusing him. It's like he's rewarding bad behavior. And it honestly disgusted me, but I didn't go off on him about that at all because I was able to tell that he was upset and that he was in pain. So I wasn't being hard on him about that. I didn't even mention how I felt about that. Seriously. But he did tell me thank you, and he said that he would call me tomorrow. And then I just said, okay, I hope you're alright. And I told him, call me if you need anything else, or if you can't sleep at all. But then he hung up, and then he went to sleep. And I could definitely sense that he was still unsure of what to do, and that he was unsure whether he was going to come back to Florida and meet me or not. But what do you guys think? What choice do you guys think he made? Well, you see me back in this room. You know what I say in all my videos. If I find a lover or partner, you guys would know, because my new episodes of Joe Winko Talk would be done in a brand new bedroom that you guys don't recognize. So you still see me in this room. And I'll even give you guys another hint. Now, I've been a lot of places this year. I have been taken to a lot of places this year, much more than what I've shown on YouTube so far. As I said, I have a ton of videos that I'm going to try to edit and have uploaded before year 2019 ends. And I don't want to spoil anything about those videos, about any of the places I went to this year. But I will say this. Tallahassee, Florida is not one of the places I did a video at this year. And it's not one of the places that I gone to this year. So, that right there. Guess that answers your question. So the next morning after that phone conversation we had, I slept in late. I slept in till around noon. And I woke up, checked my cell phone, no missed calls, no text messages from Charlie at all. And I texted him back a couple times asking if he was on his way back to Florida. And I actually even tried calling him, and I even left him a message on his voicemail. He never got back to me for that whole entire day. I never heard back from him. No text message, no call, or nothing. So I tried not to focus on it too much because it was way too negative, and I already was kind of out of it and not in that much of a good mood. So I got on my computer and I went on Facebook, and I saw that I got a friend request from Charlie, and I could tell that it was from a while ago because I don't really look through my friend requests on Facebook that often, because mostly it's quite a few spammers trying to add me, like spammers who live overseas and everything like that. So I don't check my Facebook friend request often, but I checked them that morning, and I scrolled through and I saw that I got one from Charlie. And I accepted his friend request, and I went through his profile, and I saw that he had pictures of him and Garrett together. And this was the first time I ever saw Garrett. I never met either of these guys. I never met Charlie. I never met Garrett. I never spoken to Garrett. Never did speak to Garrett ever. And I hope I never speak to Garrett at all. But I did see pictures of them both together on Charlie's Facebook page. And the one thing I noticed is that Charlie is not a big guy at all. He's pretty short and quite a bit scrawny, a tad bit. Not extremely scrawny, but quite a bit scrawny and slim. And he's petite and short and small. And I could tell that from all of his pictures because he was standing next to Garrett, and they had their arms around each other. They basically, those couple pictures, you know how couples are when they're taking pictures together, when they're in love with each other, apparently, and everything. I saw that Garrett was taller than Charlie, and I'm guessing that Garrett must have been around 6 feet, like, or even my height. And Garrett was, like, slim built mostly, kind of like me, but he was quite a bit more athletic and quite a bit more muscular than I am. That's another thing I noticed. Not quite like football player built, but he was quite a bit more muscular than I am. And Garrett is also a white guy, and he also has blonde wavy hair and blue eyes. Complete opposite of me. And to be more specific on what Garrett looks like, have any of you guys ever seen American Horror Story Season 8 Apocalypse? Spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen it, but you guys know that magic evil boy who's the Antichrist in American Horror Story Season 8 Apocalypse? Let me show you a picture of him right here. Okay, yep, that's exactly what Garrett looked like, the guy in that picture. That's exactly what he looked like The chiseled face, the blonde wavy hair, and the blue eyes. That's exactly what Garrett looked like. So, as much as I hate to admit this, there was actually something very mesmerizing about Garrett. I can definitely see why Charlie likes him so much, especially if Charlie felt like the sex between them was great. However, just because someone is handsome, that doesn't mean that they should have the right to harm you and abuse you like that. I don't get the deal with that at all, or why Charlie feels that that's okay. Seriously. But getting back to my question I asked earlier, what choice do you guys think Charlie made? What choice do you guys all think he made based on everything I just explained? Okay, look at these pictures. Now, I don't like to down talk myself at all. I know I'm not the best looking guy on earth. I mean, I like to think that I'm pretty decent inside and out. But which guy would you guys choose personally in those pictures? I mean, the both guys on the outside, the one on the left picture and the one on the right picture, both of those are of me. The one in the center is exactly what Garrett looked like. That's not him in the picture, but that's exactly what he looked like. Now, this is a bit of an unfair question, assuming if you're one of my longtime YouTube followers who are very loyal. I know some of the people watching this might say me, the guy in the outside pictures, and I don't want to make this a race thing, but I kind of feel like that kind of had a tad bit of something to do with this, and lack of better ways of explaining that. Imagine being a 50-year-old white blonde supermodel man who's originally from the panhandle of Florida, because that's exactly where Charlie was from. He was native to the panhandle of Florida and born and raised in Tallahassee. So, which of these guys do you think he would choose then? Yep, you absolutely guessed right. And the thing is, a couple days passed, and I did text Charlie each day that passed, and I didn't hear back from him at all. Until later on, he texted me back, and I asked him, "Are you back in Florida yet?" And he said, "No, I'm still up in Maine with Garrett. We're back together now." And I was just like, are you serious? After everything he put you through, you guys are seriously back together? And he started telling me, oh, well, he said he was sorry, and he was crying to me, and he told me that he didn't want me to leave him at all, and we made love again, and it was beautiful, and he says, me and him belong to each other. Oh my god, it just makes me cringe just remembering that, because sorry to I was trying not to get too worked up in this video, but it just made me cringe hearing him say that and remembering that after what he told me that this guy did. I honestly felt like throwing up when I heard him say that. Really. And I told him that he's not really sorry. This is what abusers do. I've seen enough shows online about this. He's not sorry at all. He's going to harm you again, and he's going to end up killing you one day. I saw your pictures on Facebook. I saw how big this guy is. I saw you. He's going to end up killing you one day, and he's going to get away with it. Exactly. And then Charlie was texting me back, and because we weren't calling each other, we were texting each other, and I remember texting this to him, and had it in all caps, and I was trying to tell him that this is a bad idea, that they do not belong together. But then Charlie kept telling me, no, he changed. He just needs my support. He just needs my help. He just needs me to be nicer to him, and he just needs me to be a better person to him. And then he sent me a text message saying, oh, I'm so sorry you're alone. I'm so sorry you feel lonely, but I'm sorry, but I can't be with you. I'm with Charlie now, and I wish you the best of luck. And, you know, I was about to get ready to text him again, and I was just like, you know what? That's it. You know, seriously, I tried, and I almost was going to text him, okay, I tried, but I was like, no. He is not even worth it. No. So, as I was saying, this was back in early August of 2019 when this was all going on. Like, the next time we got back in touch with each other and I found out what situation Charlie was in. So, I didn't talk to Charlie ever again after that, and I never talked to him again after that. But I noticed that he would like some of my posts on Instagram, and I saw some of his pictures because I think I might have followed him on Instagram. I'm not exactly sure because I eventually ended up blocking him. And I remember he was still following my fan page on Facebook because I told him to follow my fan page on Facebook. So then I went on Charlie's profile, and this was a couple of weeks after, like early September of 2019. And I saw that he was still with Garrett, and I saw even more pictures of them together. The one thing that got me was they had pictures together, and I recognized exactly where they were standing. I recognized the exact area they were standing at. They were in Mobile, Alabama. Now, there's a park in Mobile, Alabama that they were at. I don't know if it's a park or something. Like, I think it's like the town center. I even did a YouTube video there way back in 2018 of me in Mobile, Alabama, because my adoptive dad took me there. They were posing next to the statues that I showed in the video, and my Next Day in Mobile, Alabama video, and they had the statues behind them. They were taking pictures with them, and they were smiling. And I saw that Charlie was wearing sunglasses, and I looked really, really closely at that picture, and I saw a streak of purple where the sunglasses and his flesh, where like that line was between his sunglasses and his flesh, I saw a streak of dark purple around one of his eyes. And I was reading the comments on that picture, and they said, oh, I hope you guys are having fun in Mobile, the people who comment on his pictures on Instagram. And he said, yeah, I love Mobile. It's so much fun being here with Garrett. And people are telling them that they're such a cute couple. And then I saw another picture of Garrett in Mobile, Alabama. And the interesting thing was, Garrett was right next to that building. The same building that I'm posed in front of in this picture. The same building that I took a selfie in front of. I remember telling Charlie that we should go to Mobile, Alabama together because I really wanted to see the Battle House Tower, that it was the tallest building in Mobile, Alabama, and I thought that me and him would love to go see it together. And it just so happens that he decided to take a picture of Garrett right in front of that building. And I read the caption under it, and it's really not funny. I don't know why I kind of feel like laughing at this, but he typed in that Garrett was the best thing that ever happened to him, and that Garrett was his best man, and that they have their ups and downs, but they're always able to work through them, and that Garrett is always by his side, and that he loves Garrett, and that they love each other. And that's all I remember, because there was more stuff typed in that post. He typed in how much they loved each other and everything, and at that point, I seriously could not take it anymore. I mean, I already been to Mobile, Alabama, and I loved it there. I had a great time in Mobile. I wasn't even there for very long. I just wanted to see the buildings in Mobile, Alabama, and I wanted to visit Mobile because I wanted to see what type of city it was, and I wanted to see the buildings there and do a YouTube video there because I thought it would be a cool place to feature in my YouTube videos. I was actually there with my adoptive dad. We had a great time there, and he drove me there because he felt sorry for me because he Googled my name one day and he found my profiles on a bunch of dating sites, and then he read that I was looking for a lover and partner who likes to drive and go on road trips, and he felt sorry for me because he knew that I wasn't able to find anyone who would want to take me on a road trip at all. And I don't know why, but I honestly love how he automatically knew that I wasn't having any luck finding that. So he took me on a road trip to Mobile, Alabama because he felt sorry for me and everything. And I had a great time there. I did what I wanted to do there and did what I needed to do there. And I got to see the city, and I thought it was a really beautiful place, and I got to experience that. And I honestly wouldn't mind going back to Mobile, Alabama either, even though I had the crazy haters who were bashing me in the Mobile section of Reddit. I still wouldn't mind going back to Mobile, Alabama, because I loved that city and I thought it was beautiful. Wouldn't want to live there, but I wouldn't mind visiting it, because it was beautiful. But the fact that I knew what was going on, and that I saw those pictures of them in Mobile, Alabama, a place that I'm spiritually connected to, and I saw them looking so happy together, and that Charlie told me about what was really going on, and that people were saying that they were a cute couple and that they loved seeing them together, and that they were standing right in the exact same park that I did my video at, and that I recognized that exact location, and that it was a place I always wanted to road trip to, and a place that I talked to Charlie about that we should go to together before he ended up with this psycho. And another thing is, I noticed that the same day that Charlie liked my pictures on Instagram, whatever picture I posted, because I don't even remember which picture it was, the same day he liked one of my pictures on Instagram was the same exact day all those pictures in Mobile, Alabama were posted. I'm not sure if this is true, honestly. A part of me felt like it was almost like he was trying to get my attention, like he wanted me to see those pictures, like he wanted me to see Garrett standing in front of the Battle House Tower, because Charlie didn't know that I already went to Mobile, Alabama, and that I already did a video there and everything, and that I already got to visit it, and that my adoptive dad brought me there, and that I actually did end up doing all that already, because I never told him about that. I didn't tell him what was going on in my life at all. But the fact that he knew that I really wanted to go there, and he told me how mean and abusive Garrett was to him, and that he liked my pictures on Instagram, the same day he posted those pictures on Instagram in Mobile, Alabama, that just really struck a nerve with me. I mean, it doesn't really bother me that much right now, but at that time, that really, really struck a nerve with me. Because he knew that I wanted to go to Mobile, Alabama, because we talked on the phone about that. So, I ended up blocking Charlie. I blocked him on Instagram, I blocked him on Facebook, and I banned him from my Facebook fan page. And I honestly never wanted to talk to Charlie again. And another major thing that I wanted to say was, I can be a mean person a lot of the time. Honestly, I'm not afraid to admit that. I can be a pretty mean and pretty cruel person. You can even go back and watch my episodes of Joe Winko Talk, how I talk about some people sometime. I can say pretty mean stuff, and I can be a really mean person and say pretty mean stuff. But the thing you have to remember is the only reason why I get that way and the only reason why I'm mean like that is because every person who I talked mean about in my episode to Joe Winko Talk either done something bad to someone else or something else or done something bad to me and intentionally hurt my feelings and intentionally brought that bad side out of me. And when someone does that, it upsets me and I get defensive. But there's one thing that I never have done in my whole entire life. I have never harmed a person in my whole entire life. I've never got violent with anyone. I never hit anyone. I never struck anyone. I never harmed a person in my life. And you know, in all honesty, if I met someone, if I met a guy online and we went back to his house together, and if he got me so angry to the point where I felt like picking up something, a glass out of all things, and chucking it at his head and killing him, the thing is, I would have never got to that point. The moment I start getting mad and the moment I start getting angry, I would have just told him to take me home or put me on a bus back home. And then I just would have went home and I just would have never talked to him again. I wouldn't have ended up getting mad and striking him or hitting him with a bottle or anything like that. That's fucked up. But that's exactly what I would do if someone actually made me that mad. I would just have them take me home and then I would just go home and just never talk to them again. I mean, it's a lot better than what Garrett was doing and probably still is doing to these days. And another thing that this whole incident threw in my face was it threw in my face the fact that I'm never anyone's first choice. I'm never anyone's first choice. And I don't mean to be negative, but it's true. That's one thing I do feel pretty often and very often, but I usually don't talk about it much, and I usually try not to think about it that much, and I usually try not to focus on it that much, but I do get reminded of it from time to time pretty often. And it's too negative, and I try not to focus on it, but I still do get reminded of it pretty often, time to time, really, that I'm never anyone's first choice. The only person who really ever put me first before anyone else was my biological uncle, the only biological family member who I ever known in my whole entire life, my biological uncle Romario. But, as you guys all know, he's gone. And he's been gone for a very, very, very long time. So he's not here anymore. Which brings me to my next point. Now, on the Steve Wilkos show, I've seen quite a few reruns of the Steve Wilkos show because they have them all on YouTube and everything. I don't watch them on TV. I watch them on YouTube. I always notice in the comments, these straight guys, they always type in, like when it's an episode about a woman who's in an abusive relationship, who's breaking up with her abusive boyfriend, I always notice that these straight guys type in, I would never harm a woman. Why are these girls only going for these asshole guys that beat them up and abuse them? If I had a girl, I would love her and never hurt her. That's the comments that they type in. And you know, that's what this reminded me of. I could totally relate to all those comments that those guys were typing in. Because another thing I always thought of, I used to read those comments and I used to think, well, maybe if that girl knew about you, she wouldn't be with that guy. She would just be with you instead. And I always thought that someone in an abusive relationship, the reason why they don't want to leave is because they're scared of being alone and they don't want to be alone at all. So that's why they latch on to this person who's harming them so much, because they feel worthless and they feel down about themselves. And it's learned helplessness. I learned that term in psychology class a long time ago. That's what they eventually develop. But I always thought that if someone was in an abusive relationship and found a nicer partner to be with, that they would just move on and be with the nicer partner, and that it wouldn't be too difficult for them at all because they already have the nicer partner with them, and they don't have to worry about being alone or anything because they have their nicer partner with them. And plus they would have their partner with them to support them, especially if they knew what they have gone through, really. But I guess I was quite a bit off about that, as you guys can see in this episode. I know that I'm a good guy. I am 100% sure that when I cross paths with the right person, that me and them will be happy together. They will be happy too, and I will be happy too. It's definitely, when it comes to dating, like gay or straight or whatever, it's definitely a luck of the draw situation. You're not always gonna draw the right card, especially like you're looking for a specific card, but you're not always going to draw the right one, and you just have to keep trying until you find it. It's a trial and error. That's what all relationships are, really. And I try not to focus on this specifically too much, but it really hurts when there's actually a guy out there who knows that I exist and who knows that I'm looking for a lover and a partner, but instead of me, he'd rather be with a abusive, mean, out of control, homicidal man who's going to end up killing him one day. And it sickens me, really, to think about that. And I try not to take it too personal, but it still sickens me when I think about it. But as I said, I blocked Charlie on Instagram. I blocked him on Facebook. I banned him from my Facebook fan page. And in all honesty, if he really wants to reach out to me, I mean, even after I blocked him on those places, there's still tons of ways you can get in contact with me. There are so many ways you can get in contact with me, even if I block you and on everything. But if he reaches out to me, and he still doesn't know whether or not to leave Garrett at all, and if he manages to survive the next time Garrett attacks him, and if he calls me on the phone and asks me, oh, Garrett hurt me again, what should I do, what should I do? I'll tell him, I already answered your question. Now please don't call me back until you and Garrett are done for good. That's exactly what I would tell him. And I would just say it straight up to him. Don't care how sad he is. That's exactly what I would tell him. And if that never ends up happening, then I don't want to know what becomes of Garrett or Charlie. I don't even want to say Charlie's real name at all, because I don't even think about them. But as I said, the point of my episodes of Joe Winko Talk, the point of all my YouTube videos is for you guys to get to know me and get to know what goes on in my life and get to know what affects me and everything and what goes on inside my head, because that's the whole point of all my YouTube videos. I didn't want to keep this to myself, and I felt like letting it out. Even though it wasn't fun to talk about, I just seriously needed to vent this all out. So that's it for my episode of Joe Winko Talk. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.